detectives, I have something exciting to show you. Mr. Bookman sent us an email. So I have an email to share with you before we get to mission number 11. So let's read this email together and see what he has to say. And guys, look up here. It says Bill Bookman, SSDA Detective Bill Bookman at gmail.com. To Rachel Strohmeyer. Miss Strohmeyer, first I wanted to tell you how impressed I am with the word detectives I have seen reading at home. I have been looking at some of their screens like you do, and I see so many of them reading and working so hard. Ava and Hudson always seem to be reading away. Can you show this email in your next video so that they know how great they are? I am really excited for you all to do mission number 11. It's a good one. Tell them thank you for still working on these missions at home. I am really proud of them. Sincerely, Detective Bill Bookman.
Oh, hey kids! Hey, just reading. My mouth is a volcano. That's right, activity and idea book. Yes indeed. Anyway, where were we? Congratulations on all your word detective work. We hope you're ready for an even bigger challenge. The words in your books are getting longer. They're getting tougher and trickier to solve. You will have to take a closer look using what you know about letters, sounds, and snap words. We're counting on you, detectives. Let's see what we've got coming up in Mission 11. Easy does it. Slow and steady wins the race. Never! Ha-ha! Oh, there she blows. Ho-ho! Mission number 11. Word detectives can clap out the parts of a word they want to write, and they can break up the parts of a word they want to read. They can break it in different ways until they find a word that makes sense and sounds right. Your teacher will show you how it's done.
Friends, you heard Mr. Bookman. A word detective can clap out the parts of a word just like when they're writing. If they're writing a really long word, they can clap all of the parts so that they can hear different parts to write. And just like you can do that with words to write, you can also do that when reading words. You can break up words into smaller parts, into little parts, to see if that helps you solve a tricky word. So that's what Mr. Bookman told us mission number 11 is going to be, and that's what I have here for you today. I can break long words into smaller parts. I can break long words into smaller parts. That's what you're going to be doing with your reading today, and I'm going to show you how it's done. But before, Mr. Bookman sent us a new chart. So we have our old charts over here. You can see Ms. Strohmeyer's hand still. We have our old chart of how to be a word detective. We have our a little bit newer chart about what we can do with our snap words when we read. And now we have a new chart that says word detectives take an even closer look. And the first step of taking an even closer look is to break long words into smaller parts. So as we read today, I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to show you how to break long words into smaller parts. But before we get started, I have a couple words that I want you to clap with Ms. Strohmeyer. First word I want you to clap is bicycle. Can you please clap bicycle? Do it with Ms. Strohmeyer now. Bicycle or bicycle. 3. Awesome job. Can you please clap the word stegosaurus? Clap the word stegosaurus. All right, and do it with Ms. Strohmeyer now. Stegosaurus. How many? Yeah, stegosaurus. Awesome job. Now I want you to clap the word garage, like a garage door. Garage. Can you please clap the word garage? All right, let's do it together. Garage, garage, garage. I do think that it's 2. And the last one that you're going to clap with, Miss Strohmeyer, is computer. Everybody's looking at their computer, so let's clap computer. Go ahead and do it. Clap the word computer. And now do it with Miss Strohmeyer. Computer, computer. 3. I think computer has 3 sounds. So if we were writing those words, we could break them into the syllables. We can break them into the claps, the parts that we hear to write. And we can also break long words apart. That's what mission number 11 is, and I am now going to show you how it's done. So friends, in order to show you how it's done today, we are going to start a new book, and I started reading this book this morning. This book is called Lost Socks, and it's a little bit of a mystery. So I want you to read with Miss Strohmeyer, and as we are reading, there's a tricky word that we're going to find that we need to stop to solve by breaking it into parts. But first, I want you to read with me. Tim and Michael jumped into the pool. "Here comes the ball," shouted Michael. The ball made a big splash. "Look at me," said Mom. "I'm all wet." The boys had fun. "Please get out now, Tim," said his mom. This is a long word. Wow, okay. I don't think that we should run away from this word. Do you think we should run away from this word even though it has a bunch of letters? I sure hope not. I'm going to show you how we can break this word apart to help us read it. So let Miss Strohmeyer build this word. G-E-T-T-I-N-G. Wow. So many parts. G-E-T-T-I-N-G. I bet as a word detective you can see some parts that you know. But we can break this word into 2 parts. And one way that I might try breaking it apart is by splitting it at the double letter. We have 2 T's in this word, so I'm going to try splitting it by the double letter and see if that can help me solve this word. Do you see a part that you know now? I hope so, because I see a snap word. G-E-T is a snap word. What is that snap word? Try to sound it out for me. What is G-E-T? G-et. Get. This is the snap word, get. And then over here, so I know this part. I know the part get. And then I know that I-N-G says what? What does I-N-G say? It's a hunk and chunk. I-N-G, ing, ing, ing. I-N-G, ing, ing, ing. I hope you've been working on your hunks and chunks at home. So ing, ing, ting. This part is ting and this part is get. Get, ting, get, ting. Let's put those 2 sounds back together. Get, ting, getting. You are getting cold. Does that make sense? Does that sound right? It does. Let's clap the word getting. 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 Is that 2 sounds? It is. So we broke that word apart into 2 syllables, into 2 parts. That was wonderful work, friends. Let's keep on reading and see if maybe there's another word that we come to that's really long. The boys had fun. Remember, a good reader, even though our word's down here, when a good reader stops to solve a word, they always go back to the beginning in order to make sure that it makes sense. The boys had fun. "Please get out now, Tim," said his mom. "You are getting cold." That makes sense. You are getting cold. Run inside and get... Oh no. Run inside and get... This is another word right here. I'm framing it. This is another word that is really long, like the word getting. This is another word that is really long, like the word getting. I'm going to build it for you and see if we can break this word apart in a way to help us solve it. And Miss Strohmeyer needs 1 more letter. Oh no. Hang on, friends. Let Miss Strohmeyer get her extra letter that she's missing. There we go. All right, this is this word right here. And just like last time with the word getting, we broke our word apart when we saw a double letter. So I wonder if that won't work right here. I wonder if we can break it into two parts. I wonder if this is going to help us solve this word. Okay, so let's focus on this part first. I see a blend. Do you see a blend? I see DR, which can come together to make a fast sound like drum, drum, dr. So I know that DR says dr. And then I know that E says eh, and S says s, dr, eh, s, dr, eh, s, dress. I think that's what that part says, dress. And then we have this part. And I see a hunk and chunk. When you see ed at the end of a root word, say ed, d, or t. So ed can say ed, d, or t. So we might have to figure out what part makes sense here. But s, ed, said. I know this isn't how you spell the snap word said, but I think that's what it says. I think that's what this part says is s, ed, s, ed. So let's put those sounds together. We have dress and said. Dress, said. Run inside and get. Dress, said. Run inside and get. Dress, said. Does that make sense? Run inside and get dressed. I don't know that the end of our word says ed, but I think I know what makes sense. Readers, do you know what makes sense? If you're getting cold, you need to run inside and get dressed. So even though it didn't help us all the way, breaking our word into two parts, into dress and said, helped us think about what made sense. The ed at the end of this word says d, dressed. Actually, it has a T sound. Dressed, dressed, dressed. Dressed. Awesome job, friends. Let's reread it and make sure it makes sense. Run inside and get dressed. You did it. We did it. We broke our words, our long words, into parts. We broke them into parts that were going to help us read our word. Before we go, I want to show you that maybe you might break a word into more than one part. You might break it, more than two parts. Let's go back to this word, getting. I might start by taking off the ing because I know that ing says ing. And I might break this part off because I know that get says get. So now we have three different parts of our word, and I wonder if we have three different parts, if we can still solve this word. Get, ing, get, ing, get, ing, get, ing. Oh, we can. We can break it into two parts like we did the first time, or maybe sometimes you might even have to break a word into three parts. Friends, before you try this work on your own today, I want you to remember that our task, our big problem today, our way to solve tricky words is to start breaking words into parts. That's what we were working on. I can break long words into smaller parts. Now remember, we just tried breaking getting into two parts, and then I also showed you how you could break it into three parts. So sometimes if you break a word and you split it down the middle and you put it into two parts, you might not be able to solve it. You might have to break it into more parts. You might have to break it into three parts or into four parts. So a good word detective will try to break their word up until they can solve it. So make sure today that you are trying that in your books as you read. You need to read for 30 minutes. You need to read your paper books or your online books for 30 minutes, and then you need to work on Lexia. I cannot wait to see how you guys break long words into smaller parts. Remember, you might have to break it into 2 parts, you might have to break it into 3 parts, you might have to break it into 4 parts, but whatever you do should help you solve your word. Can't wait to see how you guys do. See you tomorrow for mission number 12.